Hi everyone, we are ready to go live. Okay. So there will be some lag of video, like 10 seconds. So once we go live, just let's be silent for some time and then I'll give you a heads up once we are live.
Sure, Pankaj.
Okay, gentlemen, we are live. Please, you can go ahead and start the webinar. Thank you. Deepak Singh ji, we are good to go live.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can start the webinar.
Bhavna, you're on mute.
Bhavna, you have to unmute yourself and start. Please unmute and start.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, hi Bhavna. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Maybe let's wait for a while for a few more people to join. In the meantime, thank you so much, Dr. Singh and Deepak sir, for agreeing to contributing to this webinar. It's a great pleasure having you both here. I hope you guys are doing well.
Thank you,
Yes.
Bhavna. Yes, it's our pleasure to be here and share our views with the audience about what is happening in the Indian composites. We will be discussing in more detail. Thank you.
So good evening to all our audience from India. Good afternoon to our audience from Europe and good morning to our audience from the US. I hope you're having a great day. Maybe let's wait for some more people to join so a lot more of them can get benefit from this webinar. So I just got a feedback from a team member that maybe we need to speak a little more clearer so they can all listen to us in a better way.
Sorry?
Maybe we need to speak a little more louder so they can hear us clearer. I
Sure,
just
sure.
received this feedback from one of our team members.
Sure, we'll try to do that.
Okay, we can see.
So, hello everyone. Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining today. And I welcome you all to today's webinar on the Indian Composites Market, current landscape and future opportunities. Let's get started. I'm Bhavna, your host for this session, and we are thrilled to delve into the evolving Indian Composites Market with our two esteemed experts who have a very close view of this expanding industry. And in the meantime, you please feel free to add your comments or to your suggestions, feedbacks, questions to our chats. This is a request to our audience. Please feel free to engage yourself with us. And so moving on, I would like to introduce you all to our very first speaker for today, who is Dr. K Singh. He's a proficient business strategist with over 35 years of experience in the manufacturing industry. As an IRCA certified lead auditor, seasoned engineer, coach, and trainer, Dr. Singh brings extensive expertise in management and project leadership within both batch and continuous process manufacturing. He holds a BTech and MTech in ceramic technology from the Indian Institute of Ceramics in Kolkata, a postgraduate diploma in management from a business school in Chennai, and a PhD in total quality management and business excellence from ABD IITM Gwalior. Currently, Dr. Singh serves as the Director of Business Transformation at the Composites Excellence Center of India, where he is playing a pivotal role in establishing India's presence in the global composites market. Dr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Bhavana, for the introduction. I'm happy to be here and to interact with the audience. So good evening to all from India, and good afternoon and good morning to the respective part of the globe. So,
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So joining him is Mr. Deepak Agrawal, a well-known market research consultant with over 15 years of experience in the global composites industry. Mr. Agrawal holds an MBA in marketing and finance. He has led more than 200 strategic consulting projects and worked on 200 plus syndicated reports across various industries. He has worked extensively in advanced materials, especially composites and chemicals, across sectors like automotive, aerospace, defense, oil and gas, construction, and recreational goods. So throughout his career, he has driven projects for both small firms and Fortune 500 companies, collaborating with industry leaders such as Torre, Teijin, Hixel, Solvay, Costa, Huntsman, and the list just goes on. So today, Mr. Agrawal will bring us up to speed on the current dynamics of the Indian composites market and shed light on the growing role of composites in India's broader economic landscape. Let's dive into our discussion. So welcome, Mr. Agrawal, to our webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Bhavana, for introduction. Thank you, Singh sir, to the call. At the same time, we would like to say namaste, all Indian listeners, and good afternoon, good evening to people hearing us from out of the world. So thank you very much.
So let's start and let's dive into our discussion. Before we do that, I would like to know a bit more about our speakers and their perspective on the Indian composites market. So starting with Dr. Singh here. Dr. Singh, I've been following you on LinkedIn for a long time now, and I must admit that you're indeed one of the most active professionals in the entire Indian composite space. And it's amazing to see how you keep promoting all these sectors at all fronts, be it on social media, international events. Whenever I have a look at your profile, you always have an event lined up. So maybe, I guess this was your recent composite materials world for aerospace and defense at UAB in Vadodara, or it was the Winergy Trade Fair at Chennai. You keep on attending all such shows and contributing to the composite sector in India. So would you like to brief us and our audience a bit more on the core objectives of CECA and what benchmark has CECA aiming to set in the global composite space? So,
thank you, Bhavana. Yes, we love to be amongst the composite fraternity and love to serve the composite fraternity as much as we can. So CECA, or this Composite Excellence Center of Asia, is based at Vadodara, Gujarat, India. So Composite Excellence Center of Asia is the center of excellence set up by the adept and accomplished professionals from composite industries, academics, and research organizations, those who are gray-haired like me, are working together to the mission, yes, to enhance and encourage the composite industry and its growth and development in India. So we try to bring a platform that fills gap, that fulfills the needs of the composite industry, and focusing on working professionals and the future professionals like the students or the growing scientists who are going to serve the composite industry. So in nutshell, you can say that we are a bridge between industry, universities, and research institutions. We at CECA support the growth of composite industry in India. So we have a large family. It is supported with more than 8,000 composite fraternity from all verticals of composite manufacturing, be it from industry, academics, research. We are also having the major composite manufacturing company and the corporates as our corporate member of CECAis. So our approach thrives at the intersection between data-driven market research, traditional management consulting, and we leverage our integrated value framework to provide long-term solutions. The major aim is to provide excellence in composite manufacturing so that we become the international class. The overall objective of CECA is to bring all the domestic and international professionals from composite manufacturing, raw material, equipment manufacturing, technology, design, support, software, testing, research institutions, technology institutes, and universities to bring a synergy amongst all. So we serve the composite fraternity through membership, like individual membership, corporate membership, and life membership. We publish bi-monthly newsletter, that is CECA Communique, and that is being circulated to the wide composite fraternity. We organize various events, seminars, workshop online, and we are also having MOUs with university and institutes. We also do have a composite directory that is available, that is domestic composites industries and international composite to our corporate members. Also, we have got composite industry manpower data bank, and we serve or cater from technician to the vice president level free of cost to the composite industry, to our corporate life members. We do have various courses on composite. So the overall objective is to bring people together and grow the industry. Thank you, Bhavna.
That's great to know, sir. That's great to know. Like, the part which I'm stuck at is you are also trying to make a composite directory and you have courses listed, you have a lot going on, and it's so great of you to contribute to this community. So that's really appreciable. Thanks for the insight into CECA's vision, Dr. Singh. I think we can already see the fruits bearing since in the past few years, India has been successful in increasing its presence in the global composite value chain. And it's not just an assumption on our end, but rather it's what we have been observing throughout the globe. I mean, we too attend events like JEC, CAMEX every year. And we have observed that the number of booths as well as the number of attendees have increased significantly in the past 5 years. So also the announcement by Reliance or Jindal to set up carbon fiber plants in India are all proof of the Indian market getting serious about its presence in this sector. So what's your take on this? I mean, what major changes have you observed in the industry in the past 5 years?
So there is a lot happening. Like this CECA has born or brought up in the year 2020. It is a newly born baby. So like you can say, like in last 4 or 5 years, we see a sea change happening in the composite industry. So in last 5 years, the Indian composite industries has witnessed the increased use of mechanized process. People have understood why they should go for the automated process. Still, you can say that around 40% the manufacturing process, the first choice of Indian manufacturing, composite manufacturing is the hand layup process. So there is a change of automation, and also people trust the manual. So in addition to that, filament binding and injection molding process are widely used to produce the components. So we see a big change happening in the renewable energy sector. So you can say that India, we talk of wind energy, so it has become the hub or the supply chain center of the wind industry. All major windmill manufacturing companies are having base in India. Then comes the building industry, building and construction industry that is growing very fast in last 5 years. Then chemical and corrosion industry, Then you can say electronics industry, and then some parts like the growing areas are oil and gas, mass transport is one area, especially the metro trains and the bullet trains coming. That use of drones for various applications, especially the agricultural field. Then the revolutionary change brought by 3D printing. So at one big shot, you can make design, you can do formulation, and you produce direct product. So that's what we see in the last 5 years, and a lot more things are happening. So we are dynamically changing day by day in field of composites and growing towards a new India and new growth in composite field.
That's great to know. Thank you for your views, sir. Even I think we are not that far away from building a global reputation in the composite industry. But the next question that comes to my mind is, which industries do you think the Indian players will penetrate first? I mean, the global demand for composite is either wind or aerospace. But we don't have such strong presence in either of those industries in India right now. So are there any particular industries you see that have experienced the largest changes in terms of dynamics or interest levels? Do you see any other sectors apart from, like you mentioned, building and energy? So do you think there are any other sectors which are offering growth to the composite sector in India?
So most driving, like recently that Tata Aerospace has set up a plant to manufacture aerospace here in Baroda itself. So this is a good indication. Yes, aerospace industries are coming to India, and not days are so far away that Boeing and Airbus will be having. They have already set up their R&D center in India, but soon we can see that they must be producing. And once they start making, there will be like very golden days for the Indian composite industry or Indian composite manufacturing. But the area where I can foresee is renewable energy is one area, especially the solar energy, because composite is being extensively used for making solar photovoltaic cells and solar photovoltaic structures. Then especially the fuel cells. Then the major growing market is drone, UAV. This is the one exponentially. And government of India is also positively supporting and aiming that India to become a global drone hub by year 2030, and for which initiative has been established by government of India through liberalized policy to help individuals and business leverage to the drone technology. And government of India has plans to attract around Indian rupees 50 billion investment in the next 3 years. Then another area where we foresee growth is composite in metro rail, EVs, buses, and lightweighting. So in public transport, so there is a very good opportunity, and it is projected that around 7.5% growth is going to happen. Similarly, in the building industry, so that is one area, because India is the world second largest population. Hopefully, within few years, we will become the number one. We will supersede China in terms of number of people. So for building, you will require, and you can foresee good growth in fiber reinforced polymer FRP, fiberglass composite shingles, then this PU resin composite lineal system, FRP made modular mobile structures. So these are the area, and companies like Everest Composite, companies like Reliance Composite or Wind Composite, EPP. So a lot many composites, they are working to cater the growing demand of building industry. If you go to the airports like Mumbai, Delhi, all, so you can see how the composites are helping making those building a structure. Similarly, if you go to the hill areas, the borders where you require lightweight structure dwellings for our army people, so there also a lot of work is happening and a lot of things are getting generated. So modern construction materials in form of composites are being tested in many different applications related to energy, solar cells, supercapacitors, vehicles, fuel cell, wind turbines, hydropower, and biogas generator. And one most emerging field, which is still under the carpet, but it is going to pop up very rapidly, that is the Type 4 COPV, compressed pressure vessel for hydrogen. Like India is projected to be one of the leading green hydrogen producer in the world shortly. Yes, Bhavna.
That's so good to know, sir. Like, I think composite is a versatile material. It's everywhere, right from our buildings to our aeroplanes, like you mentioned, to our airports. Composite is the new material which is going to be everywhere, it seems. So thank you so much for that. And now, Deepak, since you have been first-handedly associated with several leading companies globally in this space, and you have also been in constant touch with the key stakeholders in this domain. So let's hear your perspective on the trajectory of the Indian composites market. Can you please take us through the past, present, and future of the Indian composites? So could you please brief our audience about this market?
Thank you, Bhavna. Bhavna, can you please give me the access? I want to share the file. Can you please make me the host? Yeah. So meanwhile, yes, I just would like to substantiate, what Dr. Singh sir has said. So Indian composite market is quite different if you look at the other mature markets like US or Germany or like Japan. So the market is still underserved. If you look at the per capita consumption of composite, it's far lower than if you look at US or Germany. So that gives a very clear idea that the India represents huge growth opportunities for composite materials, irrespective of composite material, whether it is advanced composites, whether it is glass fiber, or even aramid fiber composites. So we see a lot of growth potentials for all kind of composite materials. Obviously, advanced composites, particularly carbon composites, have been the eye, and have been making a lot of significant improvements in terms of demand. A lot of materials being imported, and today is being converted in India, and ultimately those are being again exported to the global market. So India is serving as a manufacturing hub for some categories, making parts here, and then they are exporting to global market. So let me show some of the market numbers that we developed while studying this unique market. I have shared my screen. Hope that screen is visible to you and others. In case not, please let me know. I will reshare that one.
It is visible,
right?
Deepak, it is visible.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we have estimated. The global, basically we estimated the Indian composite materials market. Again, just would like to tell you that this market is at material level. So it's like glass fiber, carbon fiber, unsaturated polyester, resin, epoxy, vinyl ester, fillers. Those are being taken into account, and that's how we are going to sum up and come to the market. So Indian composite material market in 2023 is around 1.5 billion US dollar market, and it's likely to grow at a substantial rate of around 8% in terms of value, ultimately landing the market to 2.5 billion US dollars in 2030. Interestingly, if you look at the demand, like in terms of volume, the market stands around 680 kilotons as of now in 2023. And it's going to be in 4-digit numbers in terms of kiloton, ultimately 1056 kiloton in 2030. indicating a 6.5% CAGR. And as I said, initially that the Indian market is quite unique and is very different than global. So if you look at the global average, composite market is growing at a 3.1%. And if you look at the Indian composite, is growing around 6.5%. So that gives a very clear idea that, it's twice than the global average. And that's how, it has been catching a lot of attention of the global players to come and play in Indian market. Not only the global players, if you look at the Indian composite history in past 10 years, all big Indian conglomerate, they have jumped into the market, either in glass fiber composites or in carbon fiber composites, and they have been doing excellent, making some margins, by producing in India. Some cases they are exporting, and some cases they are serving the domestic demand. So if you look at the way, glass fiber is the major one in India. There are only two players who manufacture glass fiber. One is Onscorning, another is Goa Glass. Onscorning has a capacity of 145 kiloton. Goa was having around 25. They recently modernized their furnace and ultimately helped them to have a capacity of 37 kiloton. In terms of production, they produced 110 kiloton by Onscorning, 22 kiloton by Goa Glass. Out of that, around 20 kiloton were exported. Rest they served the Indian demand. If you look at the way that majority of demand is coming, or met through import, coming from Chinese player, mainly Jushi and other ones, they are supplying through China or other part of locations, maybe Thailand or Bahrain and other countries. So India, in terms of glass fiber demand, India still rely a lot on global market, and it's actually having a dual edge. The Indian companies like Onscorning and Goa Glass Fiber, if you look at their financials, they are negative because Chinese companies are dumping the material at quite lower rate than these two Indian makers, which actually led Onscorning to file an anti-dumping duty in 2024 June, I believe. It is in process. They want to have some help from the side of government to have some anti-dumping duty on these dumping of glass fibers. But it would be interesting to see how this will behave in coming time. But it is being under consideration as of now. As I mentioned, that composite consumption per capita is in India very low, 0.4 kg per capita. But if you look at the US, it's 11.5. Germany is around 8 kg. So you can look at that. If you compare with Germany, we have 20x opportunity in India. So moving down to next slide, let's talk about the Indian composite material market by breakdown. Reinforcement is around 300 kiloton, matrix around 270 kiloton, and then rest are the others, pillars and other categories. And that gives a very clear idea that reinforcement and matrix are the major one that need to be discussed in detail. So we have further breakdown of reinforcement, which is 300 kiloton market. Out of that, glass fiber is around 292 kiloton. Again, when we say glass fiber, this 292 kiloton, we are not including non-composite glass fiber usage, like maybe insulation or maybe other applications, abrasive and other ones. We have not included those ones. We just included the polymer composite applications. Then carbon fiber, which is very interesting, 5.9 kiloton is a really good market, keeping the global carbon fiber demand. So India, if you look at the 5 years back, there was very less demand, 500 to 1,000 ton, but this time 2023 is around 6,000 ton, 6 kiloton material. So it's a huge demand of carbon fiber. Then again, includes a lot of complete product. We have also included that one. If we remove that one, it's going to be very less. Aramid is around 3.2 kiloton, and that's how the combination of glass fiber, carbon fiber, and aramid fiber coming into the India for polymer composites. Then in terms of matrix, polyester is undoubtedly the major one, having 68% share. Epoxy is around 51 kiloton, 19% share. Vinyl ester is around 9 kiloton, 3.4% share. And then others, which is 9.3% share. And here, a lot of other thermoplastics or some other resins like polyurethane and acrylic other play here. Now, moving down to this, I think this is the most interest. Some of the points already being surfaced by Singh sir. So ground transportation and building and construction are the major application area, having 50% of the market share. Ground transportation is around 150 kiloton. That again, includes both automotive as well as railway and marine applications. In building and construction, which is around 28% share, which is the biggest category. Lot of tier players are manufacturing parts here, serving cooling tower, grating, a lot of pultrusion applications fall here. Electrical and electronics, that's again, we have seen a lot of growth in past few years. A lot of SMC parts, junction box, meter box being manufactured by several companies here, ultimately having 16% share. Renewable energy, which is, I believe, one of the most talked topic in India, having 13% share. One thing that we have been noticing in renewable energy is that India is one of the manufacturing hub of wind turbine blades. So the Indian demand for wind turbine blades are relatively lower, but India, there are companies like Nordex, TPI Composites, LM. These companies have been manufacturing blades here, and then they have been exporting to Europe and other part of the world, and which actually giving a lot of opportunities for both composite material, glass fiber composites, as well as carbon fiber composites, mainly the pultruded spar cap. So India earlier, have been importing a lot of pultruded spar cap from companies like Goret, or there are some Chinese companies, or maybe from Joltech, which is a part of Torre. But now Goret already established a plant in India, and they are making pultruded spar cap in India, and that's actually give a lot of opportunities for carbon fiber players to supply directly to India. So it wouldn't be indirect route; it would be direct route now. Coming to carbon fiber in India, and gradually is going to be served to Indian market and ultimately being exported to global market. Now, pipe and tank, which is a stagnant market, 6.5% share. We don't see a lot of growth in recent time. Is a flat, or you can call it low growth market. Aerospace and defense being a very small market, but it's quite attractive. Always, when we talk about earlier, when we talk about advanced composite, we always talk about aerospace and defense. This market is quite unique. We have been witnessing a lot of companies entering into it. Even global companies are forming JVs with Indian companies, like one of the most discussed one is Tata One, and they have been working a lot with Lockheed and other companies, making a lot of aircrafts here. And actually, they have been using a lot of composite in that. Telecom, which is mainly into FRP rods and aramid rods, is having around 6% share, ultimately 42 kiloton of material going into the telecom. India has been one of the manufacturing hubs of FRP rods and ARP rods that going into optical fibers. Definitely, this market has been witnessing a huge competition from China. So Chinese companies are giving tough time to Indian companies. As a result of that, we are seeing some shift in terms of manufacturing base, or you can call it some diversification in terms of manufacturing base from India to other low-cost countries, maybe like Morocco, or maybe like Brazil, or maybe like Mexico. So we see that in coming time, Indian companies may expand to other regions, try to serve the demand locally there. So that's going to be a good initiative in telecom business that we are going to witness in coming time, and others, which is include a lot of other fragmented applications. So this is the current status of Indian composite material in terms of end-use industry. Moving down to slide number 6, that talks about the growth rate. So we have given the projections of Indian composite materials market. And that gives a very clear view that aerospace and defense is going to be the major one, having 17% share, and rest all other markets, are likely to have really good growth. So renewable energy is 9% growth. Reason being that India accounts around 11, or I believe 12% of global wind blade manufacturing capacity. So India will remain one of the manufacturing hubs and will actually serve both Indian demand as well as global demand. This will create really good opportunities in coming time Ultimately, we estimate that the growth would be around 9%. Construction and infrastructure again is going to grow at 6.7% in coming 6 years. Ground transportation, railways is one of the major market. Automotive production is growing at very fast. Also, India has been a hub of metro car production. So Bombardier, Alstom, Bhel, these companies are manufacturing a lot of metro cars in India, and some of them are exporting to Southeast or in Pacific regions. So ultimately, demand is coming to India and then being exported. So a lot of growth we see that in coming time, which actually giving a very clear idea that India is being the fastest market in terms of growth, is just 2x than of the global average. So moving down to slide number 8 that talks about by process. Even Singh sir said that open mold, that we see huge material going, 36% of the material going in open mold, then pultrusion, then resin infusion, and compression molding. We see a lot of consumption now. The two applications where we see a lot of growth is, one is filament winding, which pressure vessels application. Couple of companies like Time Technoplast, Supreme, they have started doing CNG manufacture or Type 4 composite pressure vessel manufacturing in India. Now they have been working for the other applications like medical and also in hydrogen. So that's something really interesting to see in coming time, how this company evolve and create a lot of demand for carbon fibers and epoxy resins, ultimately serving Indian demand as well as global demand. So that would be interesting to see. So this is about composite material entire demand dynamics. We firmly believe this market has huge potential. Obviously, a lot of education is required across the industry stakeholders to tell them that what are the advantages of this material in various applications, like mature market like US and Germany, which they already understood the advantage, and as a result of that, there's a huge penetration of composites across applications. A similar effort, I believe, is required in India to increase the penetration and giving strong push for the demand of composites. So this is on Indian composites. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepak. That was really helpful. You taking us through the landscape and giving us options of what can be our future opportunities in this field. The presentation was really helpful for me personally and for our audience, I believe. Thank you so much for this. That was great context. So it was insightful to know where our Indian composite industry is heading. And I also believe it would be helpful for strategy research too in the coming years. And my next question would be for Dr. Singh, for you. So at present, more than 95% of the market is captured by glass fibers in India. And Reliance has big plans to start production of carbon fibers with an estimated capacity of 20,000 metric tons per annum. Jindal has announced its plans for carbon fiber too. Now, with the current dominance of glass fibers and these upcoming initiatives in carbon fiber production, where do you see the primary demand for carbon fibers coming from within India?
Thank you, Bhavna. So there's a very good news that yes, India too have carbon fiber manufacturing, and that too be the biggest business house, Reliance. So Reliance carbon fiber manufacturing is in the advanced stage of project completion. So that is going to be the world's largest and India's very first carbon fiber plants, and that will be at Hazira, Gujarat. Capacity, you have already told that it is around 20,000 metric ton per annum, and it will be based on acrylonitrile feedstock. So this plant will be developed at a cost of 75,000 crores in the coming years. Also, good news that the big business house, Jindal, they also announced, and Jindal is also working with Bay, especially JAM, Jindal Advanced Materials. So we call JAM. So they are into that composite rebars, then SMC and all. So yes, people feel that yes, this glass fiber or the traditional GFRP is not going to be the right solution because world is growing. Similarly, this composite and advanced composite field is growing. So yes, there will be a fourfold change in the growth of manufacturing advanced composite parts. Since we will be manufacturing these aerospace parts, then we will be manufacturing Type 4 cylinders for the hydrogen. There will be like big requirement of the sports and all. So there is a huge requirement of carbon fiber. People are like aiming to use carbon fiber. The problem is they have to dependent on the imports from the top 10 carbon fiber manufacturing companies across the globe. So they have to face the big issues of the higher cost. But if there will be manufacturing from India, it is going to offer great help. So we foresee that the majority of demand of carbon fiber will come from aerospace, road, marine transport, lightweighting, sporting goods, then already like department ISRO, so making missiles and other like private organization supporting the missile manufacturing. So they are dependent on carbon fiber, aircraft brakes, aerospace antennas, support structure, then carbon fiber trusses for any high strength mechanical structure, you require carbon fiber, automobile hoods, novel tooling, casing, bases for electronic equipments. You cannot imagine without even the brushes for electric conductivity, you cannot imagine without carbon composite. One big area we have already discussed, the drone and UAV. So they are one of the big consumer and they will be the driving force. You must have heard that Bangalore, that UAV, like the local transport, because Bangalore is the city where most of the people like miss the plane because of the high traffic. So they have started UAV and they have also got approval from the Department of DGCA. And hopefully the similar thing is going to happen in other cities like Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, or Delhi. Like people have got a problem in commuting. So that is one area that where you will require carbon fibers and advanced materials. Same for the building materials, especially the old monumental buildings, the bridges. If you want to repair them, you require the carbon fiber. The renewable energy is going to be one of the Type 4 cylinders. Then when you talk of automation, making of robotics, lightweight, the carbon fiber structural beams. So these will be the major demand area for carbon fiber. So once it becomes like indigenous, making people start making in India, so there will be a fourfold growth in the use of carbon fiber and advanced material. So hopefully it will go up from 5 to 7% right now. It may go up for 30% or maybe more than that. Thank you, Bhavna.
That was very helpful. Thank you, Dr. Singh. So as per your opinion, I believe you think the demand for carbon fiber in India will be majorly coming from the aerospace and marine and road and building sector. But do you think it will be at par with the capacity of what India is most likely to produce, or we are going to be at an overproduction stage when it comes to producing carbon fiber initially? Also, what impact do you think the Chinese carbon fiber market will have in India? For instance, India is right now on the building stage, figuratively, like we were talking about. But if we talk about China, they have already built a very strong presence in the global market, and they currently own almost around 50% of the global composite production capacity. So, Dr. Singh, do you think the global carbon fiber firms, they are already facing competition from the Chinese firms in this sector in terms of cost? So do you think India can compete with China in this carbon fiber production segment?
Very, very nice question. Interesting. Because after COVID, the image of China and Chinese industries, people world over, they believe Indian manufacturing, they are relying, and lot of shift has been seen that the people are. So this is the hard fact that the China is the second largest carbon fiber composite market in the world, and the US it claims that it is on the top spot. So based on the data, so China consumes around 69,000 metric tons of world total 115,000 metric ton of carbon fiber demand. So big consumer in itself, China. But what we see that yes, if the Indian carbon fiber start it gets from Reliance and from Jindal, so it is going to have an edge. So coming to the competition from China, because these Chinese carbon fiber manufacturing companies are giving a very tough fight to all the top 10 carbon manufacturers, be it Toray, be it Mitsubishi, all there. They are giving a very tough fight. But what we feel, there is a, in India, we have got a feeling or support, make in India, support for the local products. So people still prefer to go for the Indian products. So the people will rely the carbon fiber from domestic manufacturing. Right now, the carbon fiber supply chain is very sluggish. There is always a price rise or shortage of demand, shortage of supply of the carbon fiber. So hopefully, government of India will also support to the Indian industries who are going to produce carbon fiber through anti-dumping and to cope up with the cheap quality carbon fibers from India, from China. So we hope from CECA that this production coming from Reliance and Jindal will have an edge over Chinese carbon fiber and have competition from companies like Toray, Solvay, Teijin, Nippon, Hexcel, Zoltec, Hyzon, or Mitsubishi, not with Chinese carbon fibers. Thank you, Bhavna.
That's good to know that our people and the world are willing to trust our products more than the Chinese ones. That's really good to know. So maybe to build a little more on that, Deepak, my next question to you would be, could you please share any market data or projections that illustrate India's position and potential in the carbon fiber segment? Can you please throw some light on that?
Yeah, thank you, Bhavna. So India is actually, at very nascent stage in terms of incorporating carbon fibers in different applications. And it's very important to understand, how overall supply chain looks like in India. So would like to, share one thing before before sharing our numbers. So it's Indian market, there are currently 3 announcements. One is obviously, 2 of them already talked by Singh sir. One is of Reliance, who has announced about 20,000 ton. What we understand that it's going to be in phases. The first phase would be on 4,000 ton, and gradually they are going to increase the capacity. And what exactly Reliance is planning, they are about to use majority of carbon fibers for the indigenous purpose. So Reliance is making big announcement or big investments in a lot of renewables and hydrogen area. So they need a lot of carbon fiber to make parts ultimately which are going to be used for their captive purpose. So they are making huge investment in carbon fiber. Obviously, majority of them is going to be for captive. Obviously, it's going to be for open market too, but primarily, I believe, it's going to be for captive. Jindal, I think they have announced around 3,500 ton of capacity. Again, I think it will be on phases. Another interesting news is inside of government, where Bhabha or HAL or Midhani, they have announced to do some T800 carbon fiber production in India. I think it is still at very low development or in discussion phase. But these two are the most talked one, and are going to be in reality in coming time. So let me show some of the numbers with people, like how exactly carbon fiber industry is in India. So again, I have shared my screen. Hope that's visible.
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah. So yes. So this is the Indian carbon fiber supply chain is. So if you look at the carbon fiber coming to India, it's coming in three forms. One is coming as a CF, carbon fiber tow or textile. Another is coming in the form of prepeg, or third is coming in the form of finished part. So if you look at the carbon fiber import in India in 2023, it was 1,300 ton. Majority of being supplied by Hyosung. I believe they have around 60-65% share, and rest being supplied by other companies. The reason may be that because Hyosung recently have been increasing capacity worldwide very fast. Ultimately, it's giving them a pressure to supply material at low cost, ultimately giving some advantages to Indian tier players to buy carbon fiber at low cost. So that's the reason, in past few years, we see increased share of Hyosung in Indian market. Then in terms of prepeg, is around 179 tons of prepeg, carbon fiber prepeg import was there. Out of that, if you look at the carbon fiber quantity, it was 115 ton. And most interesting, which is a carbon fiber finished part, majority of them is pultruded spar cap. So which is 6,500 ton. Out of that, carbon fiber quantity is 4,462 ton. And if we add these gray shaded box, is ultimately giving us an indication that 5,900 tons of carbon fiber being used in India in 2023, which is really remarkable, keeping last 10 years in mind. It gives a really good view of Indian carbon fiber market in terms of demand drive. So moving down to compare with the global market is around 2023 is 170 kiloton of carbon fiber being used globally. And if you look at India is around 6 kiloton. So you can clearly see that around 5% of carbon fiber being used in India, which is really fair, keeping the mind Indian industry is at nascent stage, but it has been growing at very fast. Global market is again very growing at a really good pace. Reason are a lot. Hydrogen pressure vessel is one of the fastest growing market. Wind energy, we see a lot of pultruded spar cap usage, especially after the expiration of Vestas patent. So now a lot of companies are free to use pultruded carbon spar cap in their wind blades. Ultimately, they can develop long-sized blades at lower weight. So that's really another advantage of that. That's I'm going to next slide, which gives again a carbon fiber view, global market. So global market is 117 kiloton. Out of that, China is around 49 kiloton. So again, it's around 40% market share being again, served by China. Now we see a lot of Chinese company rapidly expanding their capacities. Ultimately, we are going to see a situation where a lot of price competition will happen between global companies and Chinese companies. And it would be again interesting to see, how global companies deal in China. High-end markets like aerospace or some other applications, we think that global companies may play in China, but the lower end applications, especially the large tow, we think that global companies may have to suffer because China, the kind of capacity expansion these guys are doing, mainly few players, they ultimately get the advantages of economies of scale, and they can dump the material at low cost. So it would be interesting again in coming time how China will react, but China will grow and react. But again, India is a very good market. A lot of potential we see in coming time. Pressure vessels, even as I said that earlier, CNG is one area where we see a lot of growth in coming time. Time Technoplast, Everest Kanto, these are players. They have been working into the carbon fiber side. The major application these guys are targeting is CNG cascade application, and Time Technoplast is basically rapidly they're expanding the capacities, ultimately taking to 29,000 cylinders capacity in phase 1, and now they're further expanding to 600 more cascades. So which gives a really good view that Time Technoplast is going to be biggest users in terms of type 4 pressure vessel for carbon fiber in India, followed by Everest Kanto, and there may be some more players who are going to join the league in coming time. In terms of wind construction, construction has been a material, where India has more than 50,000 old bridges, and that needs a lot of rehabilitation. And how it's going to be rehabilitated is going to be rehabilitated through carbon fiber technology. So authorities are started using carbon fiber in construction application, mainly the rehabilitating the old bridges by providing a lot of reinforcements through carbon fiber. Wind energy, as I said, that majority of demand is through pull-to-date spar cap, which currently being imported, but we will see in coming time Gurit, who already built the plant, they're going to play a big role serving the Indian market by buying carbon fiber locally, either through Joltech or some other companies or Husong, and then they are going to meet the Indian demand. Automotive is still at very low demand because less usage of in India, majority of export purpose. So companies are manufacturing parts here, mainly using prepeg, and then they're exporting it to global market. But as EV is growing very fast, we see in coming time Indian companies start using carbon fibers in high-end cars, and ultimately can give a lot of push to the demand for carbon fiber value chain within automotive industry. Sporting goods, again, it's very low. Keeping the China in mind, China alone manufacture more than 90% of sporting goods parts, carbon fiber sporting good parts. But Arvind is doing a lot in India. They are successful. They have really good understanding about sporting goods part. They are manufacturing sporting carbon fiber sporting goods part, and then they are exporting it to global market. So again, we see a lot of growth for sporting goods. India is going to be gradually, going to gain some shares in sporting good composite part in coming time. Aerospace and defense is still at a very low demand. It's very earlier. It has to be big market. But now, if you look at the current demand, it's very low. It's hardly 1 or 2%. But if you look at the demand, the growth would be very healthy. Why? Because the Indian conglomerates already jumped into it. They started manufacturing a lot of composite part in India and basically exporting it to the global market. Cable core is very interesting. I believe earlier everything is met through import, but again CTC I think in 2024 I believe they put a plant in Pune. I'm not sure the location. I think it is Pune, and they started manufacturing FRP cable core, or sorry, carbon fiber cable core in India, and actually is giving demand for carbon fibers, creating demand for carbon fibers in India, and rest are others. So that gives a very clear idea about that. All industries are growing very fast, but pressure vessel, wind energy, I believe, are going to be eye-catching, which create a lot of demand in coming time. And that next slide, that gives a very clear view. Aerospace is growing very fast, automotive is growing very fast, but pressure vessel, look at the growth, is around 26%. Average is 14%, and pressure vessel is going to be 26%. So that gives a very clear idea that pressure vessel is going to create a lot of demand in coming time. And in terms of supply, everything is currently import. Now, if you look at by 2030, we see that, Reliance and Jindal may play some role here. They may have around 20-25% of the Indian demand supply. And what about the China competition? I think that there won't be a lot of competition from China. Why? Because Indian companies, hardly 2 or 3 plants are going to come in basically in reality in coming time. And one of them, which is Reliance, which mainly for captive. Jindal, again, they have a huge plan for carbon fiber, and I think the kind of demand the Indian company generating, I think they are going to meet that demand. So hardly we don't see a lot of competition from Chinese company, Chinese carbon fiber manufacturers in next 5-7 years. Later on, definitely it would be good when the demand is going to be very sizable. Then they would be interesting to see, how these Indian companies are going to compete with Chinese counterparts. So with that, I would like to end on Indian carbon fiber market. Thank you, Bhavna, for letting me share that insights on Indian carbon fiber market.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepak, for sharing your valuable insights. It's clear that we have a lot of demand, we have supply coming in. But Dr. Singh, my next question to you would be, today in the Indian composite industry, you are probably one of the most prominent faces who has been interacting constantly and networking with most of the companies globally as well as in India. So, what, according to you, are the challenges faced by domestic and international companies when it comes to doing business with and in India?
Thank you, Bhavna. So, Indian composite industry, yes, there are teething issues. So still they face constant to moving ahead to cater to untapped markets. The fragment market hierarchy, like within the value chain, tends to cause intermediate uncertainty amongst various stakeholders with corresponding inhibitors to the growth rate. So Indian composite industries, especially the MSME, they face many challenges, which includes lack of awareness. So there is a lack of awareness and knowledge about composites in Indian industrial sector. So this awareness is the one big challenge. Then regulatory framework, there is a lack of solid regulatory framework and the bodies. The third thing, what we see that is raw material prices. The prices of raw materials are variable and which affects production costs and profitability. Like any industry, if the raw material prices is rising, so obviously it is going to eat the profitability and the growth of industry. Then the biggest challenge is the composite industry is facing lack of skilled labor. So there is a lack of skilled labor, specialists the trained technician or the engineer level in composite design and experienced people in the production. Then what other challenges are like the standardization, like what US, like Germany or UK, they have got like standards for anything and everything for composites. But slowly in India, the Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS, is also taking like the right pace and like coming up with those standardization. But it needs a lot driving force from Government of India, from the Composite Association, and from the industry professionals, the topmost people, to pursue with the Bureau of Indian Standard and Government of India to focus and enhance the standardization process. Then the next challenge is facing recycling. So fortunately, I have been to the 2 days national conference on composite, recent advances in composite, organized by Telangana Manufacturing Association at Hyderabad on 8th and 9th November. So there we have a very good presentation from one of the scientists who is helping the composite industry, especially the thermoset plastic, in the recycling. So recycling is a big challenge for the thermoset regime, and it is especially for the wind industry, where the end use of that wind blades and all thermoset regime is a big issue. Same, the intellectual property, when we talk of the patents and all, like we do not have the higher education in composites. First time, Ahmedabad University, they have started master course, especially first time in India. Then next will be the IIT Hyderabad, making hopefully they will be starting from 2024, the master course. yes, lot of research and intellectual property is required. What is happening in Germany, in France, in UK, other developed countries. So we are lacking, and that, like, if there is a research happening, intellectual property we are having, so this is going to help support the growth and development of composite. Then there is a constraint of new product. There is a need to develop new product and application. So we need, like, the government of India should help and support organization like us to, like, set up and have the capabilities to develop more and more new product, which is like be the requirement of tomorrow composite. So we can develop, or similarly, there should be like a more focused research in IITs and other organizations to help support the growth of Indian industry through new product development. Then comes the design. So we are having a very big shortage of good designers in composite. So there is again a focus required to develop more and more designers to cope up with the latest requirement and, like, agile requirement, changing requirements of composite industry. And since composite is being used as a lightweight material, it's a replacement of other conventional materials. So design is going to help support, like, the optimum utilization or the innovative way of utilization of composites. Then we have got some manufacturing complexity. Composite manufacturing is a complex thing, the raw material, the technology. So people need more training. And last but not least is the awareness about the quality control and quality assurance. So there are challenges because you need trained people, skilled people who know how to benchmark the product with the international market or international quality requirement, the international standard requirement. So we need to do a lot in terms of quality control, quality assurance of our products being manufactured. So what we feel that the most significant growth driver of Indian composite industry is the huge untapped potential of the domestic market. What Mr. Deepak has already expressed, that per capita consumption is still 0.4 kg. Though India is a very big country, so per capita 140 crores, it is a big amount. But if we compare with the developed countries like Germany and USA, so there is a huge scope of growing the composite industry. So there is a great scope for Indian composite fabricators, raw material manufacturers to cater the global export market, because now world over Indian products are, like, welcomed, well accepted, and this will boost India's composite consumption in the next 5 to 10 years. So we hope a more bright future of Indian composites in coming years. Yes. And like, we will be addressing to those teething problems what industries are facing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that perspective, Dr. Singh. Also, like you mentioned, recyclability is a problem here. I would like to just inform our audience and everyone that we at our portal Composites, we also have a newly launched report on recycling carbon fiber. And I would urge all of you to just go through that once. Like Sir mentioned about recycling, it is a big problem. Also, it is a big market, if we can say. There's a huge opportunity in the recycling part itself. So thanks a lot. That was really helpful. Now, my next question would be, are the overseas companies also aware of these challenges? I mean, you must be having an idea about the outlook of international companies towards the Indian composite industry. Do you think they'd also like to enter this market by making some acquisitions or investments? Like, what's the outlook of international companies towards India? If we talk about international interests, which sector specifically also do you see driving the most investments in India from international companies? Any particular sector?
Thank you, Bhavna. So, like, people world over now trust the Indian talent, Indian intelligence, because our Indians have proved their capability all across the globe. And I'm happy to share with all of you that if you go to US, you go to Germany, France, all major the contributor, the composites, you will find some Indians like heading those. So yes, so international companies, they foresee that India is a growing economy. There's a scope of growth of composites because per capita consumption, it is inviting. So what we already discussed and what we foresee that clean and green renewable energy is going to be the one major area. The world will be interested in venturing, in investing in Indian companies, especially in the field of green hydrogen production, type 4 cylinder manufacturing, wind energy. Yes, we are the hub. And then will be the aerospace, the major, and there's drone and UV, then metro rail, bullet trains. People will be interested to venture with Indian company, put JVs, and construction and building industry, roads and bridges. So those are because Indian economy, Indian infrastructure, because we are going shortly to be from number 5 in economy to number 3 shortly. So everybody is eyeing upon us, and we have got a good probability to support the Indian growth, economic growth through composites. So yes, lot with our infrastructure, with our talent pool, the resources, the international company will be eyeing to come to India, have joint ventures, and support Indian in the composite industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. And I also feel is that apart from all these factors that you have mentioned, the expansion of both domestic and international vendors in the space will also be highly influenced by the India government stake. But before we move further to our next question, I would just like to mention this to our audience also, that our experts are here. I am seeing your queries, your questions on my chat. So we will be addressing your questions, your queries, everything before we close this session. And this is our last question for the day. So, like we already have supporting policies in place for sectors like EV, defense, etc. from the Indian government. Mr. Singh also mentioned tiny bits of Indian government support and policies in his previous answers. But I would like you to specifically briefly explain us if we are getting any kind of help from Indian government or any policies in favor of the composite industry. Can you please elaborate briefly on that?
Is question to me or Deepak?
Sir, it's to you. Dr. Singh.
Okay. So there are many support initiatives. You must have seen the inaugural day of this Tata Aerospace happened in Baroda. So Prime Minister himself came to Baroda to inaugurate and meet with the Spanish delegation. So Government of India and the other state governments are equally supporting the growth and development. So we should be thankful to the Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Textile, Ministry of New and Renewable Energies. They are having various schemes. So I request the audience to go through the respective government portals to learn more about those government policy towards the advanced materials and composites. So government is very much open and supportive for the growth and development of advanced composites. Thank you, Bhavna.
That's good to know. That's really good to know. So, looking at the future is always exciting, especially when we consider India's potential to influence the global composites market. So, Dr. Singh, based on current trends and industry momentum, where do you see India positioned in the global composite landscape over the next decade?
So it is my one-line answer that we see India, the hub of composite manufacturing on the earth within that decade.
That's good to know. So we are almost coming towards the end of our sessions. Before we address the comments from our viewers, just one more question. It's critical to think about the vision driving India's composite industry forward. So, Dr. Singh, I would like to know your take. If you could share any upcoming initiatives or goals that CECA has set to establish in India as a global hub for composite. And of course, like any particular courses, anything in particular, if you have any plans for the future.
Yes, yes. So like we live, we dream, and we work, like we strive, like for the growth and development of composites. Like a farmer becomes happy seeing his crop growing. So similarly, CECA and its team like becomes very happy with the growth and development happening in the field of composites anywhere and everywhere in our country. So we support the future of composites, what is going to be today and tomorrow. So we have got our mission, our aim, that is AIM. So to make awareness amongst the people about composite, to make people interact. So that is interactions amongst the composite fraternity, professionals, academicians, researchers, and last one is M, that is motivate. So we believe that motivating people to coming together and support the growth and development of composites. Yes. So to align another aim we were taking to align the polymer science, composite tech institutes and universities together and work together, how they can like help support the growth and development of composite industry in India. Then joint strategy making with industries, universities, state and central government officials, making the strategy and policy for the growth and development of composites in India. So every state, what we feel that every state had at least 2 to 3 diploma courses in composite manufacturing especially, which is lacking in India. Then we have got various centers of CPET. They have to develop the composite technology undergraduate courses. At least we have got many IITs, so at least 5 to 7 IITs to start a master course to produce the leaders of composite manufacturing. And we are organizing quarterly, half-yearly, yearly composite conference, and we will be organizing international conference to help support setting up the tone for the growth. Then we are working and like closely associating with the industry because opening of the testing centers because testing of composite is one area where we lack. So setting up the testing centers at North India, South India, Central India, East India, West India, everywhere. So then people can get their product tested. And the last and final aim is to make a Mahakumbh like JEC Paris is happening every year. So to organize a similar event in coming years in India to bring industries, professionals, academicians, not from India, but across the globe and discuss what is happening and what should be the future of composite. So that's what we foresee. Thank you, Bhavna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That's really kind of you to think this way and helping us, our audience, the community. Thank you so much. Before we come to an end, I would like our experts to address some questions from our viewers. And let's start with the first one. So, Rizwan Kaleem is asking. So Rizwan Kaleem would like to know, why is the pipeline and tank industry stagnant? Could you please share your views on the same, please?
So you're asking me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, what happened, if you look at the Indian FRP pipe and tank market, if you look at 10 years back, so a lot of interest, witnessed global companies like Amyantit and other ones started entering into the Indian market, trying to develop FRP pipe and tanks, meeting the indigenous demand. At the same time, these companies were successful exporting to some of the Middle East countries. So that's what's happening, and actually, giving a lot of demand coming from that. But what happened again, the manufacturing process were helical and other ones. But later on, they could not catch up in terms of quality. So the quality was not up to the mark, and as a result of that, many global companies started exiting from the Indian market. The most live witness was Amyantit, who actually entered into the Indian market. Later on, they exited. So so the point was that the Indian company could not succeed. Mainly, what I would say that in terms of proving the benefits of FRP pipe and tank to Indian users, or Indian. That was one of the major reason. When I say stagnant, basically it's not that the demand is actually plateau. It's not like that. What I meant that if you look at the other markets like building and construction, ground transportation, which are growing at around 6 to 7%, whereas pipe and tank, I think that the growth could be around 4%. So it's relatively less, keeping other industries in mind. The growth is there, but ultimately, what happens, the quality must be at par, in order to accept it for long term. So there's a need to develop really strong manufacturing process, maybe continuous process, not the helical one. And at the same time, the focus should be on export market. So that's what is there. Also, if you look at the overall FRP pipe and tank market globally, the growth is not that high. It's still around 2% or 2.5%. So that's another major reason. The export market is again very low. So that's what I meant by when I say stagnant. Is basically the less growth than other industries like ground transportation or construction or infrastructure, or like other applications, electrical and electronics in mind. I hope I answered his query.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deepak, for addressing the query. Rizwan, I hope you got some insights from that answer. Mr. Singh, I would like you to answer our next question. So, can you please tell us something regarding the disposal about composite FRP and how environment friendly this is? Mridul Jain would like to know. Can you please share some light on that?
Yes. So, this is a very good question from Mridul. Any waste in India, like we believe that waste is not waste. We have to make waste of the waste. So we should know while recycling these thermoset composites, what are the things we will be getting. So once you like recycle, you will be getting various ingredients from the thermoset or this FRP. You will be getting glass fiber bag. You will be getting some ASS, the carbon, which can be used, again useful. And again, you will be getting some oil. So if you recycle them or you like do the process, the name I forgot. So using that process, you can like bifurcate the product into the different things, which will be very much giving you returns and at the same time disposal of your FRP product. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering this question. Mridul, I hope you got some insights from that. And so moving on, I would like Deepak to address the next question. So we have this question from Ginger. Why did you not include US among the competition? Would you like to comment on that?
So frankly, I was checking the chat also, so I saw that note. So it was a very good catch, Ginger. I really would like to thank that to bring that notice. Yeah, it's by mistake we didn't include that US in the table. But Mr. Balas, I believe, already addressed that point. So the demand of carbon fiber in US is around 27.4 kiloton. He also mentioned the value, which is 957 million US dollars. So that was a market for US. I'm really sorry that, by mistake, we could not include US in that table, but we do have estimates, which is 27.4 kiloton and which giving a value of 957 million US dollars. Thank you, Balas, for answering that query, on behalf of us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you, Balas. Thank you. So the next question would be to you, Dr. Singh. Mathish would like to know why US only on top. Dr. Singh, can you please share your perspective? Thank you.
Like in which perspective?
I think that might be per capita consumption, I believe, on that regard, he might be mentioning, sir.
So per capita consumption in US is high because if you are having a good income, you have to have like a opportunity to spend much. So this is having per capita income is again, and that is one of the developed countries. They are advanced in all aspects. So if you take any field like aerospace, like marine, mass transport, so obviously, and if you compare the population of US to India, so the population is not so high. So that is one of the reasons that is per capita consumption is high. Two reasons. One is like their per capita income and like the population, if you compare with a country like India.
Even I would like to add one more point. I think the one more point is that, the composite started, finding some acceptance in US, when onscoring started, evolving from 1930s. So the US composite industry is more than 9 decades old, right? So they basically, start competing with basalt fiber developed by Russia. So that's how, this industry started evolving. So it's a 9-decade-old industry in US. But if you look at the Indian one, when, in onscoring started developing glass fiber plant in India, then how, the Indian composite market started evolving. So it's very important, the Indian industry is still, whenever I say that, a nascent stage, because it has, less relative time than US. And obviously, the other 2 points well said by sir, it's going to be when you're going to add this up, ultimately, we get the right picture, why Indian market is having less per capita consumption than US. And, it actually needs some time, in order to increase per capita consumption for India, to actually, come in parallel with other mature markets.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. Rizwan has another question. So, what oil and gas industries do for transporting crude and process piping? Can you please comment on that, Deepak?
Yeah, so it's more about, what I know that, still majority of them is steel pipes. So it's basically, when you see that there are two perspectives, one is onshore, another is offshore. So for onshore, there's one category called spoolable pipe or reinforced thermoplastic pipe, which is very popular in US. So industry use that spoolable pipes to transport oil from the production unit to storage or to refineries. So that's one is very active in US. So that's spoolable pipe manufactured by companies like Flex Steel is there. Then NOV fiberglass system is there, Shawcor is there. So these companies manufacture a lot of these pipes. Along with that, we find FRP pipe usage, which is 6 to 8 inch in diameter in injection lines, in again, in plant. that's what the major usage. But if you talk about the offshore, offshore is still, I didn't find a lot of usage. There has been some usage, but it's still pipe as a dominant one. Also, they have big tanks. They call, I'm forgetting the name. Basically, it's FPSO they call it. So where they extract oil from offshore rigs, they keep that in those tankers, and that's the how transport to the near the shore area. So that's what they have been doing, but it still is very dominant in offshore, in oil and gas. Composite has been doing a lot, particularly GRE pipes. I believe in India, EPP Composite is the first company that has certification of GRE pipes. But still, if you talk about specific to India, it's very low in terms of acceptance. It may need a lot of education. It may need a lot of awareness. It may need a lot of work at the research institute side, or at institute side, to have a polymer composite engineers in order to increase overall ecosystem of composites in India. And that's how including oil and gas, there would be some penetration of FRP pipes, particularly GRE pipes, I would say.
So I should add that growth of green hydrogen will also invite huge requirement of composite pipes, good quality composite pipes, to transport green hydrogen from the generation point, from seashore to the user's point.
Yes, very correct, sir.
Thank you, Deepak and Dr. Singh, for addressing the query. Rizwan, I hope it was helpful for you. Dr. Singh, Ridul has another question for you. He would like to know, are the composite material end product more economical against high-grade material? Can you please comment on that?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. So Mridul would like to know, FRP process, are the composite material end product more economical against the high grade material?
Interesting. So please address that.
So it depends on which segment or which industry we are using. So being a lightweight material, it has got its edge. Similarly, it is like not only lightweight, it is like resistance to chemicals, resistance to other things, like saving in logistic costs. So obviously that in overall application of this FRP product to the high grade, I don't know what you mean by high grade material. So if you are talking of advanced material, so obviously like FRP is much cheaper because of its raw material. We use glass fiber and polyester resin or vinyl ester resin or maybe epoxy resin. So I do not know what do you mean by the advanced material.
So just to add one more point, see, I think a little different. There's no need to compete with high grade materials. I believe when you say high grade materials, you're talking about exotic alloys like maybe titanium, maybe like nickel. So I don't think so. There's a need to compete with them. It's more about what is the competing material in certain applications. If you talk about building and construction, right, the nearest material is either steel or maybe in some cases aluminum. So if the composite that we are developing, offering the similar performance at relative cost to stainless steel or aluminum, that actually addresses the purpose, right? So my point is, it's more about what application is, what kind of material is being used, and how composite in terms of cost or relative cost is, with other materials. The point is, in all cases, I believe the cost would be little higher. Reason being that composite being very versatile. Second, still in India, majority of them is traditional process like hand layup or like spray layup or like, other traditional processes. So where actually, where they increase the cost, the more automation, the lower cost is, right? So there's a need to advance the entire process, ultimately helping them to reduce the overall production cost. And then it will lend very close to other arc rival materials on certain applications. But in all cases, I believe, it would be slightly higher than other materials. But advantages are even better to compensate.
Thank you so much, Deepak, for addressing that and adding your perspective. So we have another question for you, Deepak. Mathish would like to know, is FRP process hazardous or non-hazardous? What are your views on that?
So the process is not hazardous. The hazardous is the resin that you guys are using. So it's more about, what kind of VOC content it has in resin. That was, it matters, in terms of hazardous. So in that, again, a lot of efforts being made, not, in India is more about global market or global perspective. A lot of companies are working on sustainable resins. They are working on green resins. That's how they are trying to reduce, trying to create a more better ecosystem. At the same time, companies are working a lot, or to in order to advance even the process that actually emits low VOC content. That's what we have been hearing. So what I think that, the closed process is always good, but if we talk about open process, since resin has some VOC content, so it may be some hazardous. But industry is well aware of that, and I think the role of Dr. Singh sir is very important here to educate the entire community, how they can, handle this unique material more efficiently and in a better way. And I must say that, he must have greater insights on this part.
Thank you so much for sharing your views on that, Deepak. Let me just check once if we have any questions left. I think these queries they'll just keep coming. So it can go for another hour. So before we come to a conclusion, thank you so much, guys, for joining. And just one last thing, Dr. Singh, do you have any final message for our audience?
Yeah. So the message is like, come closer, join the composite fraternity, and like enjoy the benefits of the fraternity. So like we are going to have like the type 4 cylinders. We are going to have a 2 days workshop at Vadodara MS University on 6th and 7th December. And the details are available on our website, CECAis.com. So people can come, and we always welcome people coming together, like joining hands and taking the composite industry to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh, for that. Deepak, do you have anything to share with our audience as your final message?
Yes, thank you once again, Bhavna, for giving me opportunity to speak about this. So actually, we at StartView, is one such company that highly focuses on composite side. And when we say composites, we have over 200, report repository with us, covering every single node of value chain, not specific to India. If you ask us any region, any country, we must have certain data on that. And that's how it makes us a unique market intelligence company in composite community. So we have really good understanding. We have been launching a lot of reports on country level, like in case of India, we have Indian carbon fiber market studies, covering Indian carbon fiber prepaid value added products, carbon fiber or carbon composites market. Along with that, we also have really strong studies on global or regional basis for similar fronts, carbon fiber, glass fiber, and other categories. So it would be really nice, if anyone would like to understand more about StartView in terms of capabilities we have in composites. We'd love to discuss with them. So this is what I would like to send a message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepak. And coming to the end, thanks a lot Dr. Singh and Mr. Agrawal for an insightful session and for sharing your expertise with us. It's really inspiring to see how India's composite market is evolving, driven by both strong leadership and a vision for global competitiveness. To everyone who joined us today, thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. And if we have any unaddressed comments in the query, we are going to address this later for sure. And I hope it was informative and you gain valuable perspectives on India's role and opportunities in the composite industry. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out on our portal, on our email address. You can email us on sales@stratview.com. You can also ping me or Deepak personally if you have any questions. So thank you so much for joining today. We all look forward to seeing you at our future events and continuing this conversation. Thank you once again. And please make sure that you follow our page, StratView Research and Composites, to get notified for our future webinars and more. And do share it within your network. Thanks a lot. And have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhavna, for nicely coordinating the entire session. Really loved it. Thank you, everyone, for listening us for, I think, one and a half or even more than that, and giving us a lot of inputs. Really, thank you. It matters. Thank you.
Thank you, StratView, and a special thanks to Bhavna to effectively coordinating and pursuing and making the event reaching to the all, taking Indian Composite Market to all through LinkedIn. So thank you, Bhavna, and thank you, audience, for your kind support and attendance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
audience.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.